Today we'll be speaking to Anju Saigal, who is the founder director of CEQUE, which is Center of Equity and Quality in Universal Education. So Anju, to start off, you studied at TISS and Harvard. So what did you select and what were the various career opportunities after studying at these institutions?
So at TISS, I did my Masters in Social Work, where the specialization that I opted for was Criminology and Correctional Administration. And in my doctoral work, I did my doctoral work in education, specifically focusing on administration and social policy, with a minor in international education. With respect to TISS, honestly, I never pursued the option that I took. But in general, with a degree in criminology, there are a good number of NGOs that specialize in offering justice, in the correctional, justice space, criminology and correctional justice space. Those are some wonderful opportunities that one can get. One can also get positions in places such as some sort of services that governments offer, like remand homes and other sort of institutions meant for victims of certain crimes. So those are some of the career options that one can go for with a degree in criminology and correctional administration like that. Of course, the PhD that I did in education, that the field is really very, very wide, because the degree in and of itself is, allows you to specialize in the interest that you have. So the degree really focuses, or the specialization that I opted for, focuses a lot on issues of social justice, diversity, culture, development, and so again, that was a degree I opted for because I knew where my career path was in the space of the non-profit education space, and so I specifically took on that specialization to help me understand the sector better. So those are where the opportunities lie. Other than that, with a PhD, of course, there are academic positions, of course, that most students who complete a PhD usually go in for. The non-profit sector is another space. Think tanks is a third space that students usually opt for.
Right, thank you so much for that. So what guidance would you give students who want to work in the non-profit sector and in the field of education? What advice would you give them?
So I would say that to begin with, you must have a internal motivation and passion for education per se, and second of all, to work with the underserved populations, because without a beginning point with these two things being in place, it is really hard to sustain oneself over a long period of time in the sector. The sector is not easy at all. The non-profit space in a general sense, because there is a lot of things that go wrong more than they go right, and added to that, there is always a crunch of finding good people to work for you, finding cooperation even at the ground level to get people together, to organize people together. So I would say, as a starting point, you do have to have that passion that will sustain you, through multiple years of your life. That's one. Second of all, it's really, really very helpful if you have a degree in education, of course, and or in social work, because that prepares you for understanding the ground realities where you're going to operate. So if you have an education degree and you don't have, a social something in the social development sector, that provides you with some sort of a technical background of how to navigate yourself in that space. Whereas if you come from the other end of the spectrum where you do have some sort of an education in a development sector space, then you can pick up those technical skills along the way. But of course, you do need a mix of the two eventually, whether you learn it on the ground or you come prepared with it. You need that. And the third thing, of course, is that this sector doesn't pay very well. So if one is looking, one gets a lot of satisfaction, I would say, in the work one does. So that compensates for, the lack of economic opportunity, or, one would say career growth. Of course, things have changed a lot today. I would say in the last 5 to 10 years, the sector has slowly become far more corporatized. So, even in terms of work practices, in terms of the salaries people draw, in terms of the growth path that, people could have, that is far more, structured now and in a positive way, rather than, when I joined this sector some 25 odd years ago. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Anju.
Sure.
Yeah.